Chapter 1: The Abandoned Cabin. Jane was a young woman who lived in the city and led a busy life. I worked a lot and barely had time to enjoy nature. However, she always dreamed of having a refuge away from the hustle and bustle of the city, a place where she could relax and reconnect with nature. One day, Jane receives unexpected news. She has inherited an abandoned cabin in an area far from the city. Without hesitation, she decides to invite her closest friends John, Mary, Tom, and Sarah to spend the weekend with her at the cabin. The friends were excited about the idea of spending the weekend in a quiet place, where they could enjoy nature and escape the stress of the city. They embark on a road trip towards the cabin, not knowing that this trip would change their lives forever. Upon arriving at the cabin, they are shocked at the state it is in. The cabin had been abandoned for years and needed a lot of renovations to be habitable again. But that doesn't discourage the friends, who are willing to spend a pleasant weekend together, even in an uncomfortable place. They begin to explore the cabin and surrounding area, marveling at the natural beauty of the place. However, they soon realize that they are not alone in that region. Something seems to be watching them, hidden in the forest. This feeling of being watched starts to bother them, but they try to ignore it, hoping it's just a figment of their imagination. Chapter 2: The Macabre Discovery. While exploring the cabin, the friends discover an ancient book written in a strange language. Tom, who is a history student, is fascinated by the book and begins to carefully examine it. After hours of research, he manages to translate a part of the book and discovers that it is a ritual to summon a demon. Frightened, the friends try to throw the book away, but something seems to stop them. They feel that something supernatural is holding them back and preventing them from getting rid of the book. John, who has always been skeptical of the occult, begins to have doubts and wonders if there is any truth in the book. Their curiosity piqued, they decide to try the ritual. They light candles, draw symbols on the ground, and follow the instructions in the book. Suddenly, something starts moving in the darkness and an ominous presence begins to manifest. The group feels an unearthly energy taking over the cabin and realize that something terrible is happening. They try to stop the ritual, but it's too late. They have summoned an evil spirit that inhabits the region, and now they will have to deal with the consequences of their actions. From that moment on, strange things begin to happen in the cabin. Objects move by themselves, doors open and close for no apparent reason, and spooky shadows are seen in the corners of the room. The environment feels heavy and charged, as if an evil presence is always around. Tom, who feels responsible for summoning the evil spirit, begins to become obsessed with the book. He spends hours reading and studying the instructions, hoping to find a way to undo what they've done. Meanwhile, John starts having frightening visions. Mary has a horrible nightmare, and Sarah starts acting strangely. Despite the signs that something terrible is happening, they try to ignore the situation and convince themselves that everything is just their imagination. But they can't escape the fate that awaits them and soon discover that they are not alone in that region. Chapter 3: The Beginning of Nightmares. After a restless night's sleep, John wakes up feeling sick. He gets up and walks around the cabin, but everything looks strange and different. The hut walls seem to move and shadows dance in the darkness. John tries to focus and calm down, but the feeling of unease only grows. Mary wakes up, startled by John's screams, and runs to him. She tries to calm him down, but he's completely out of his mind. Suddenly, he begins to experience frightening visions of demonic creatures and black tentacles surrounding him. Sarah also wakes up startled by the screams and joins the others. But something strange is happening to her. She begins to speak in strange tongues and seems to have lost control of herself. Tom tries to find a logical explanation for everything that's happening, but it's hard to ignore the signs that something supernatural is happening in the cabin. He starts investigating the book they found and discovers that the ritual they performed is actually a summoning ritual. From that moment on, the friends realize that they have summoned something far beyond what they could control and that they will have to deal with the consequences of their actions. The cabin's doors and windows lock themselves and the temperature begins to drop rapidly. The friends find themselves surrounded by evil forces that torment them with terrible nightmares and macabre visions. They are trapped in the cabin, with no apparent option for how to escape the demon's wrath. The situation worsens when Sarah is possessed by the demon and begins to act violently and aggressively. She attacks her friends, seriously injuring John. As they try to find a way to help her, they discover that the book they found in the cabin is actually a satanic ritual book and that they may have doomed them all by summoning the demon. From that moment on, the fight for survival intensifies, and the friends realize that they will have to face the forces of evil if they want to get out of that cabin alive. Chapter 4: The Possession. Sarah was possessed by the devil and the situation was getting more and more dangerous. She was acting violently and attacking her friends, with strength that seemed superhuman. John was seriously injured after Sarah pushed him with all her might, causing him to hit his head on one of the cabin walls. As they tried to find a way to help Sarah and control the situation, Tom realized that the book they found in the cabin was actually a satanic ritual book. He immediately warned his friends, saying that they could have doomed them all by summoning the demon, by trying to perform the ritual. Jane, Mary, and Tom now felt guilty about their situation. They were trapped in the cabin with an evil spirit and their friend was possessed. They didn't know what to do or how to help Sarah while ensuring their own safety. As they tried to find a solution, Sarah's condition worsened by the minute. She was acting more and more strange and threatening, and it seemed that the demon was gaining more and more strength inside her. John, on the other hand, was getting weaker. He was losing a lot of blood and urgently needed medical attention. But how could they leave the hut and ask for help, with the demon chasing them? The situation seemed more and more hopeless, and the friends wondered if they could survive this terrible experience. Chapter 5: The Struggle for Survival. The friends struggle to survive Sarah's possession and the demonic forces surrounding them. They try in every possible way to escape from the hut, but the demon does not let them out. Meanwhile, John's condition worsens, and they find themselves increasingly surrounded by evil. Sarah, possessed by the demon, continues to attack her friends with ever-increasing fury. She has become uncontrollable and none of the friends can contain her. Tom tries to find some useful information in the satanic ritual book they found in the cabin, but all he finds are instructions for summoning more demons. Tension builds and the mood in the cabin becomes increasingly gloomy. The friends find themselves trapped in a situation that seemed impossible to escape. They begin to feel the demon's evil presence everywhere and cannot find a safe way to escape. John's condition worsens by the minute and the friends begin to despair. They wonder if they'll make it out of that cursed cabin alive. The situation is increasingly critical and there seems to be no way out for them. With the possibility of losing one of your friends, the others start to act more quickly. They try to find a way to exorcise Sarah's demon and save John, but time is running out. The demon is getting stronger and seems to be winning the battle.
Access our channel to see the second part. Until then,